Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki, Sean, and Ryan are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 68, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend Brian Hall.
Hey, what's going on, Zaki?
I'm doing pretty well. And joining us also, we have a special guest, and this is my other good friend. I only have two good friends, Ray Nowosielski, who I have known. Ray, I've known you for gosh, when did we first meet?
I'm trying to remember if it was freshman year of film school or whether it was sophomore year, but
no, it would have been freshman year. It was like orientation.
99? Yeah, 99. Go
so
figure.
in other words, I have known both of you guys the exact same length of time.
Oh, weird.
I know. That's really crazy. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if like we actually finally met face to face and we both went like in unison, like it's you, and then we both disappeared?
That's my fear. That's why we're doing this via Google Hangout, because it's just too much power to contain in one room.
Yeah, Zaki, so I used to get the live version of this show with you for 4 years.
Right.
Poor Ray would. Yeah, we'd like take the train from the city of Chicago back to the suburbs, and I'd be ranting about some insanity. You know. And Brian is sitting there like, yes, I have also lived this. I have also lived this nightmare.
Yeah. We're like, let's subject a lot of people to this.
Well, you know, it's funny because obviously a lot of people do listen to the show, and I wanted to issue a clarification because last time, Brian, you know, I was telling you the story about my when I went camping with my kid, and you know, I was making light of it, having some fun with it, and I got a text from somebody who listens to the show, and he said, hey, you know, you kind of came off like a jackass with the camping story.
Right,
and I'm like, why? I says, well, you know, your kid wanted to stay extra, and you left, and you know, you kind of a little bit of a dildo there. and I feel like I need to issue a clarification here. I am not a bad parent, as far as I know. Folks, if you haven't heard the last episode, go back and listen to my whole spiel about taking my son camping. The issue is that it was extraordinarily cold. We were ill prepared, and I didn't want a situation where we got sick and or died.
Right.
So I was motivated by love.
Couldn't you have like cuddled with the other fathers for body heat?
I don't love my child that much. I love him, but
yeah.
So anyway, so this is my point. I feel like I just need to clarify. It became a health issue, and you know that's a point of concern. So I felt like I should point that out because I don't like getting nasty texts from people who are calling me a bad parent.
There we go. Well, now we got it cleared up.
We got it cleared up. Speaking of getting things cleared up, I actually finished the audiobook of Going Clear, which we were talking about.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Scientology documentary last time, and you know, I think I told you, right? As soon as I watched the movie, I downloaded the audiobook, and I spent 2 weeks just, you know, listening to that thing during my commute, and it was freaking terrifying.
Really? How long is it? Just out of curiosity.
The audiobook is like 17 hours.
7 hours. Okay.
17 hours of Scientological craziness.
Is that read by Lawrence Wright?
It is not. It's he reads the intro, but it's read by, Audio Bookerson. I don't know what the guy's name is. But, you know, it's like one of those guys you hear him all the time.
I was living in Austin, so I know Alex and Lawrence, but
Alex Gibney, you mean the director of the doc?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and but Lawrence Wright actually has a band in Austin called Hoodoo. And he plays every so often with like fellow Pulitzer Prize winners. It's the funniest thing. But anyway,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, like opening for Eudora Welty.
Well, it's funny because I finished the book and then that night, you know, I was like it was just bouncing around in my head. And then that night, I watched some of the documentary with my wife before we turned in, and we watched maybe the last like 45 minutes of it, and we went to sleep. And then so that night, at like 3 in the morning, my wife's like the alarm in her cell phone starts going off. So, and so I'm like asleep, right? And I'm hearing this alarm, and I'm like, the Scientologists are coming. Scientologists. And I had a nightmare about Scientologists.
Wow, really got it in your brain.
Now, bear in mind that I make it a habit to watch like The Walking Dead before I go to bed when it's on. So I've never had a nightmare about The Walking Dead and zombies eating my flesh. But Scientologists are apparently
E-meters are the type of thing that keep you up at night.
They found my button. So
yeah.
Well, so Brian, I'm curious. You live out in L.A.
Yeah.
This film seems to have created some kind of a sea change regarding Scientology, and I don't understand how it even created an impact, because it seems like there was already more than enough out there that I kind of thought everyone was on the same page about Scientology. So what do you think it did?
That's a great question.
I don't really know. Yeah, because now you're starting to see like articles on the front page of news websites, or like Yahoo even, or something like that. And to me, it seemed like, I felt like it was a good documentary, and I haven't read the book, which I'm sure goes far more into depth. But to me, it didn't seem like anything I hadn't heard before. And I think a lot of people out here already sort of feel the way, like their opinions were already formed, about what they felt about that organization and everything. So I don't know how many more people were enlightened by this thing. I'm sure it was a lot. I mean, people who are maybe less familiar with it, Scientology in general, because I mean, out here there's the Celebrity Center. I mean, there's tons of centers out here actually. So everybody's very familiar with Scientology out in Los Angeles. But I don't know, even in like Chicago. I mean, I was younger, but I don't remember hearing about it, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember being so aware of it. So I think it probably in other cities maybe was a little more eye-opening.
Have you had any awkward moments over the water cooler where someone that you work with is a Scientologist, and then you're discussing it, and then you're like, oh, wait, hold on, Debbie's here.
That is kind of a funny thing, because it feels like there's always something that you're joking about that you really shouldn't be joking about, because you don't know what Carol is like. But you know what I mean? Even if you're kidding. And I it's funny because with Scientology, so even with that, I try to be respectful, even though I don't have to like the organization. But I don't want to accidentally say something rude to somebody and whatever, just because, out here, who knows? Maybe someone is a part of it, or their family's a part of it, or it's a sensitive subject. But I find that most people, just as sensitive as they can be about everything else, no one is sensitive about Scientology. Like, everybody is very upfront and clear about their disdain and for it. So.
But Brian, that does feel like a recent phenomenon to me.
Does it? I don't know. I feel like, for me personally, I feel like that's. I mean, I think South Park was maybe one of the first major entertainment, television sort of thing.
That called it out by name.
Yeah, exactly. Like, kind of ripped the lid off of it, and.
Because before that, remember there was that Simpsons episode of Movementarians?
Yeah, and I had forgotten about that movie Bowfinger with Steve Martin.
Mindhead.
Mindhead is what they call it. Yeah. So it's been around, but then those are LA-based things that might have been doing sort of like inside jokey things. I mean, I certainly didn't get.
Yeah, right.
At the time.
It definitely feels like the worm has turned a little bit, because the level of discourse is very pointed and very precise, and it didn't used to be that way.
Well, and now Gibney's really hitting home, because he's calling for them to have their tax-exempt religious status taken away. Yeah.
See, and that's what I think is good about it, is that it's not like they're attacking beliefs. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to, like, it's easy. They can hide behind their quote-unquote beliefs. But, like, what this, book and what this documentary is doing is it's showing, like, criminal activity that is happening, you know, and deception and abuse. And so it's good that those aspects of it are being brought to light. I think, now that I think about it, maybe most people associate Scientology with just some sort of wacky thing that celebrities are into. You know what I mean? But it's more than that. Like, it's a dangerous sort of thing. So that's good that it's the curtain's being lifted a little bit on it.
Yeah, and yeah, if folks, if you haven't seen the documentary, absolutely check it out. So, and listen to the book or read the book. Do the old-fashioned thing, actually reading,
or watch the book and read the movie.
There you go. Either whichever combo works for you.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean we're talking about documentaries, and this is as good a time as any to talk about my friend Ray, who has been a fantastic documentarian for as long as I've known you, Ray. Even before I met you at film school, you had been working on stuff that's pretty high level in my opinion. So really excited to have you on here, and just let me give folks a heads up on your backstory here. You've been a producer in the documentary, film, television, and commercial worlds for nearly 20 years. Growing up in the Midwest, Ray received his Bachelor of Fine Arts in Film from Columbia College Chicago, which is a pretty good school from what I hear. He's lived in
it's got the largest alumni grouping in the country, and I think that's a reflection of its open door policy. They'll let anyone in. Anyway.
So Ray has lived in Los Angeles, Austin, Texas, and his current home, New York City. Now, Ray, you have a project coming up later this week on HBO. Give us the 411 on that.
Yeah. If it had worked out any other by week, I would have nothing to talk about. But yeah, this week it happens to be that this Friday at 11 p.m. is going to be the premiere of the Vice episode that I produced, which is called Sweet Home Alabama and Haitian Money Pit. So check it out at 11 p.m. On Friday.
Very cool.
Or anytime after if you have HBO Go or Now.
HBO Go. There you go. Yeah.
Now, how does that work? Are you associated with Vice, or do you come to them with a story and say this is something that we want to tackle, and then they sort of set you out?
Right. So, yeah, no. What happened? So actually, it's interesting. Jim Charnecki, who used to produce for Michael Moore on Bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11, he actually jumped ship, and he's the head of their media. So I had an interview with him. I got recommended to him through a mutual friend of ours, and then he kind of said, okay, so now I'm going to give the guys who head up the show, which is BJ Levin and Mark Allen, just let them, I'm going to let them know, they're to listen to your pitches. And so yeah, basically, if you produce a segment for them, first you got to clear it as a freelance producer, and then after that, you just sort of start throwing ideas up against the wall, and if they like one, then you develop it and you make it happen. So that was what happened with me early last year, and now finally a year later, segment's gonna air, and hey, they won the Emmy last year, so hey, who knows? Maybe they'll submit this episode for the Emmy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That'd be cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Vice.
So the turnaround time is about a year.
Well, only because of there were a few segments left for season 2, so I could have just made it in under the wire, but it didn't quite work out that way. And to be totally honest, our segments about Alabama passed the harshest anti-immigration law in the country, and this kind of looks at the fallout when you try to sort of force Hispanic immigrants out of a state, what happens. And
Gotcha.
So I think actually I think it was on the fence in terms of airing, to be totally honest. And then what happened was all of the controversy between the GOP and Obama over amnesty, and I think that was what kind of shoehorned us into season 3. So
the real world kind of benefited you a little bit. Real world events.
Yeah, bad things happen, and it's good when you're doing segments on bad things, I guess, right?
I'm very confused by that, but
fair enough.
Well, Ray, first of all, again, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. And we alluded to this at the beginning. It's for me, some of my fondest memories of going to film school are chilling with you and having conversations. And I remember our first point of connection was Kevin Smith, who we were both fans of his films.
See, I don't even Well, I don't even remember that. I remember
Clearly,
us.
it meant more to me than it did to you. But...
I remember us. I remember us seeing a number of James Bond films. I remember you exposing me. The first time I ever saw Office Space was at your place. And,
oh, that's right. And we went to see Mad Max. Do you remember that? We went to see Mad Max.
Yeah. And then I think we watched the Thunderdome at your place too.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? There was another. I feel like there. Oh no! You introduced me to Planet of the Apes.
Well, if you are my friend, you will probably have to watch Planet of the Apes at some point with me.
And you introduced me to Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. If only you'd done it at the same time, perhaps Brian and I would still be close to this day.
Seriously.
Guys, I just want to. I don't want to talk too much, but I want to say, like, I'm really excited to be on your show. I can't tell you what a big fan I am of the show. It's been my favorite podcast, and I have to admit it was kind of the first podcast that I discovered, but I liked it so much it made me want to listen to other podcasts, and I figured it'd be fairly easy to find ones that met my needs in the same way that your show does, and honestly, I have not found anything I like as much as your show, so I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall here because there have been so many times I've wanted to argue with you, and I've done it doubly with people thinking I'm crazy, and now I get to do it for real, so hi.
Wow. That's great. Well, now you can argue, and we will... We can cry. We can cry.
This is the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Brian cries easily, so please take his feelings into account. Now, Brian, you had a chance to see It Follows. I want to hear your take on this because I've been hearing a lot of stuff about this. This is a brand new horror movie.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting story because it's this really small, kind of independent, lo-fi horror movie. And they intended for it to be in theaters for like a week or two, and then it was going to go straight to VOD. And it got really unprecedented word of mouth, in my opinion. And so then they just threw away the whole VOD thing, pushed it back, and now it's like releasing in more and more theaters each week, and it's been doing pretty well. So I'm not a big horror guy. Like I'm not into like gore and stuff, but I like being creeped out, So if there's like sort of like a cool, creepy sort of the new, like, oh, this is something new, a new voice in horror. Then I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's that about? Like, I want to see something different, So a friend and I went, and I went. This is one of those weird circumstances where a movie doesn't live up to the hype, but I'm not sure that the hype did the movie any favors, because I don't really feel like I can say anything bad about the movie because it actually is a good movie. And it's made by this, is written and directed by this guy named David Robert Mitchell, and I didn't even realize it until I looked it up today. But he made The Myth of the American Sleepover, I think it was what it's called. Is that right? Yeah, The Myth of the American Sleepover, which I really liked, which was like a really lo-fi, guy in the Midwest made a movie about being in the suburbs and staying up all night with your friends, kind of a thing, and sort of like a little lower key Dazed and Confused, and I really enjoyed it. And now it totally makes sense because this movie is just very slow-paced, but sort of like has ominous undertones going on and whatnot. But I think what was working against it for me personally was people were saying this is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life, and that you just it's just never gonna you're never gonna live up to that. And then I had people, they're like, oh, it is up there with The Shining, oh, this movie is scarier than The Exorcist. I'm like, oh my, wow, okay, like, let's do this. Like, all right. So, like, I was really excited, actually. Like, I went in, and it's not scarier than The Shining. It's not scarier than The Exorcist at all. But that's not a discredit to the movie, because I thought it was a really good, really, like I said, it's like a lo-fi, creepy, sort of weird tone kind of film. And it's... So yeah, I don't know. I'm just dying to talk with people who've seen this movie, basically, because I feel like I'm crazy that I didn't find it as scary as everyone else did. But then I feel like I need to defend it in some ways and be like, yeah, but it was still well done. It just wasn't what everyone said it was. But hey, what's the matter, you?
Oh, you hearing a little New York? Bringing a little New York.
Bringing the ambience. Ray, have you seen It Follows?
No, but I did want to ask. I haven't heard you guys mention a lot of horror films on this show. So, Brian, are you even much of a horror film fan, or?
Well, as Zaki said, I cry easily. No, yeah, I'm not a big horror guy. Like the stuff I kind of like I do like The Shining a lot. Recently, this kind of reminded me of the Babadook, where people were saying, the Babadook was this crazy
You could mention
sort
that,
of
yeah.
low-key, really, really creepy movie. And again, I didn't find it as creepy as everybody else, but like I really enjoyed that movie more than It Follows for the same reasons that people are liking It Follows, because it's like I'm sort of wary to even talk about what it's about, because not necessarily knowing is kind of half the fun, like just going into it, because it's so kind of different. But I will say it's basically a girl gets dragged into this sort of kind of like The Ring, where something happens to her and then there's a presence that's following her. And the movie really works as a metaphor, like really obviously. I mean, it's not like something that I'm spoiling. Like, it's very obvious that it's a metaphor. But I thought the Babadook did the same thing, where it works as a metaphor, but I found it a little scarier, and I found that they played with the metaphor a little bit more. Like, the twists and turns all lent itself well to what they were trying to get across. So,
Okay.
I don't know, not that they deserve to be compared and contrasted, but I got more bang for my buck out of the Babadook than I did with It Follows.
I haven't seen the trailer for this one. Is this kind of found footage, or?
No, it's the best way I can describe it is it's a total. It feels like the Midwest. Like it's these kids in Michigan in the suburbs, and this evil presence gloms onto this girl, and it's like her and her friends trying to figure out how to elude it. But it's not fast paced. It's like the presence is very slow and menacing, and sometimes lurks in the shadows. So, I mean, what the movie does to it, really cleverly, is sometimes they'll have these really wide shots, and the thing is like coming at you as you're paying attention to something else. But it moves so slow, you could mistake it for something else, but you're like, oh, there it is, kind of a thing. So it's more of a slow-paced kind of dread toned kind of thing.
Which describes my time living in the Midwest, a slow-paced dread.
I love the Midwest. It actually did make me miss the suburbs a little bit. I was like,
Really?
Yeah.
As people are dying horribly, you're like,
Yeah.
Wheaton. I miss
It's
downtown
like
Wheaton.
kids hanging out in their front lawns on summer nights and stuff. I was like, yeah. Minus the murder.
What I was trying to figure out with the found footage phenomenon was like why it took so. I mean, what was it? Blair Witch broke in '99.
Yeah.
And I remember Zaki, as freshmen in film school, we were all sort of like rolling our eyes at it already by that point, like we had any right. And
the level of arrogance and talent is always disproportionate in film school. Like,
right?
It's this inverse proportion. Like, for as arrogant as you are directly inversely talented compared to that.
But you would have thought there would have been a lot of knockoffs right after, but nobody could quite figure out the formula. It took them a few years to kind of get that. Anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good point.
Look, I'm so done with the found footage genre.
Well, it seems like it took Paranormal Activity, right? That was the one that sort of got Hollywood to start making found footage movies.
Yeah,
and then there was that movie Unfriended, right? That came out.
That's out right now.
Yeah, it's funny because the trailer was kind of like cringy, and our audience was always laughing at it. But from what I've heard, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Apparently, it's the scariest movie since It Follows.
Dude, and did you hear that's scarier than The Exorcist?
Therefore, transitive property. For me, I burned out on the genre pretty early, but probably my least favorite of all of those found footage movies is Diary of the Dead, which is one of George Romero did a zombie flick using the found footage, and I'm like, George Romero doesn't need to do a found footage. So it like this genre infected him. He became a zombie of this genre. So I was irked by that. I did like Chronicle though. I think that's probably my favorite.
Yeah. When it's done well, I mean, it can be an effective storytelling device.
Yeah.
But
it does feel kind of played out. Yeah.
yeah.
But Brian, have you seen anything else lately?
Oh yeah, I wanted to say I saw for the very first time The Sting, with Robert Redford and Paul Newman.
Oh, you've never seen it before?
I'd never seen it before, and I was talking about it with someone that I work with, and she let me borrow it, and I really dug it. And it's funny because what I wanted to talk about most was less about the movie, even though I highly recommend it. It was really fun. But it was funny because I just recently seen the movie Focus.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh. How in The Sting, which is a movie from the 70s but takes place during the Great Depression, how simple their cons are. They're not simple. Devoid of technology, let's put it that way. You know what I mean? It's just clever, spit and elbow grease and whatever, and trying to fool people. But then it made me laugh. Now if you make a movie about con artists, it's you have to just, go crazy through the roof with the stakes and the technology and whatever. And Focus had a lot of, I had a lot of cons that were oh, okay, yeah, I can see that working. That's kind of clever. And then eventually, because again, movies have gotten so heightened, it's you have to do something that will pull the wool over a jaded audience's eyes who's seen everything. And it's they do stuff that would just absolutely never work in real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was funny how much more difficult it is to make a con movie. It almost seemed kind of quaint.
Did you like it though?
I did like it. Yeah. Yeah. You could see inevitably. When you see it for the first time, 40 plus years or whatever removed, you see sort of the wires a little bit more.
Right.
But because reading up on it, it won best picture, best screenplay, best whatever, and it's now you, because you're familiar with this formula. It's unfortunately, I had this experience with Blazing Saddles where I didn't see Blazing Saddles until several years ago, and I was yeah, I enjoyed it, but I can almost more recognize what's come from it,
sure,
rather than how revolutionary it must have been at the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of an unfortunate thing. But yeah, I had kind of a similar thing. But that said, I did really enjoy it. And I think people who haven't seen it, who seek it out, would enjoy how fun and lighthearted it is.
Well, I was thinking, The Sting, I think more people know that, the famous music suite by Marvin Hamlish
Yep.
than have seen the movie.
Sure, yeah. Oh, and dude, Robert Shaw's in it.
That's right, yeah.
I've only ever seen him in Jaws, and I was really enjoyed watching him play the
really?
villain.
So you only know him as Quint?
Yeah.
You know what you should watch, Brian? You should watch From Russia with Love, which is the second James Bond movie.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that.
Because Robert Shaw is the villain in that.
I'll check it out.
It's very different. Yeah. It's a good flick. It's one of those movies that's forgotten kind of now, it feels like.
Yeah, it feels like Butch Cassidy, which preceded it. Wait,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, yeah, that came first. And
Butch Cassidy came first, yeah.
It feels like that one gets name checked more often.
Yeah. Well, and they made a sequel to The Sting, which is terrible.
The Stung?
The Stank, it's called.
Stank. That'd be the reboot today.
That's the reboot starring Kevin Hart.
The Stank. That's funny.
I don't know. I don't know why I threw Kevin Hart under the bus.
I could definitely
Seth
see
Rogen.
a Kevin Hart buddy picture reboot of The Sting.
Right?
I really could see that.
Yeah.
But
okay,
I have to say,
gentlemen, I think we're onto something here.
Dude, how many great ideas have we given? I'm still telling you, dude. If people who work at Fox listen to this show, you're an idiot if you haven't started running with our Die Hard idea.
I'm telling you.
In Japan. McLean's wife runs the company now. Gets taken over. Do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this kid in Russia. What does Russia have anything to do with anything? All right.
You know what's funny is that just this past weekend they released Paul Blart 2, and every time I see the spots for it on the internet or whatever, I keep thinking of how you described Die Hard 5 as basically a Paul Blart movie.
Yeah.
You know, and really, it makes a lot more sense when you sort of mentally insert Kevin James into Bruce Willis's role, you know?
Totally, yeah.
Kevin James, by the way. Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
Well, the final Die Hard, I would like nothing better than to see it end with him somehow reconnected with his wife, because maybe I'm just too much of a purist, but I haven't gotten super into any of the Die Hard since Part 2, and I actually think it's because I thought the whole premise of the first two movies was him saving his marriage, so everything else since then has been just kind of them flushing that down the toilet. But,
yeah.
I really do feel like, I mean, you got to look at what people like about the original, and it was like him trying to rescue his wife. So, I mean, he can't keep rescuing his wife, but like, just remember the things that we like. You know, we don't know his kid.
There wasn't a lot of reason to have his marriage broken up in the third one.
Right.
I mean, it's.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's funny because I remember having a version of this conversation with you, Ray, many moons ago, and that's always stayed with me. That, essentially they undo the ending of the first movie,
and the whole
by breaking them up.
And the whole first picture was kind of this like metaphor where they, she's got, her last name's Gennaro, and it bothers him. He's, this New York Irish cop named John, couldn't be more male. And it's clear that the main problem that needs to be fixed in the film is just their marital problem, and the fact that he needs to get over himself and his macho idea of what a marriage is supposed to be, and I think she actually says that in the movie. And they literally have a moment, I mean, like, in terms of, like visual metaphor, like, where he's got to, like, unhook a giant hose that's hanging from, from his waist in order to survive, And anyway, the whole thing was just too perfect, and then for them to just kind of go, well, anyway, forget that metaphor, now we're on to 2, 3, 4, and 5, but it is what it is. I guess most people don't watch it for the metaphor; they probably watch it for the cool action sequences.
Yes, but I think people still sense, what's going on beneath the surface, and like when it tingles the right way again, they know it, whether or not they know why, And like I wasn't gonna bring this up, but I watched a friend of mine who lives down the hall in my apartment building. She had never seen Empire Strikes Back. Well, she'd never seen the Star Wars trilogy, and so we showed her the first one like months ago. And anyway, so we watched Empire Strikes Back on Friday, and I hadn't seen it in a while, and I was just like, man, like you forget, because I'm watching it with fresh eyes through her, and you're just like, man, this movie is so different than the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they could have just sequelized it and just sort of repeated like beats and whatever, but it's a whole different thing. But it's about the people we like. You know what I mean? And they still like each other and care about each other, and Luke's willing to give everything up to go save his friends who he thinks are in danger. You know what I mean? Like but it furthers their story. I mean, I guess that's a little different because that's a story that literally does aim to span 3 movies, but like, I don't know, I was just so impressed with like how much it fits. It's of a piece, but it also is its own thing, I just wish more sequels could figure out what that magic formula is.
We'll bring Holly back and bring Samuel L. Jackson back for the last one.
Wait, what? Say again?
Bring Holly back and bring Samuel L. Jackson back.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah. Why not?
Deuce.
I'd be down for that. Before we talk some headlines, I want to talk about some of the stuff I've seen lately. This morning I watched a new movie called Mr. Holmes, and this is directed by Bill Condon, and it stars Ian McKellen as a 93-year-old Sherlock Holmes. And in kind of the last stages of his life. And I cannot recommend this movie enough. Really worth checking out. Definitely, I think for both of you guys who are probably in the market for something a little bit different. I mean, this is not Furious 7
or Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes necessarily.
It's not really of a piece with either of those, but really just a great performance piece. I mean, my God, Ian McKellen. I mean, for me, it's like they had me at Ian McKellen as old Indiana Jones, old Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Although Ian McKellen as old Indiana Jones would also be awesome, but Ian McKellen as old Holmes sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really fantastic, and I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers for it, but
I honestly haven't heard of it, but that premise sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really, he's like 93, and essentially it's about him at a stage of his life where his health is starting to go, but more than his health, his memory is starting to go.
Hmm.
And what is it like to be Sherlock Holmes when the thing you are known for is failing you?
Right.
And there's something so poignant about that. And so it's about him writing his memoirs, and he's trying to remember his very last case 30 years ago and why it was his last case.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, really, and I mean, again, it's a character piece, and it's a chance to just watch one of our greatest living actors just be a great actor.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it. And in an upcoming episode, I'll get to share an interview related to the film. But I want to get the word out about this. It hasn't opened yet, but it will be opening shortly. So definitely.
Okay, so that's
like
a theaters like limited kind of a thing coming up soon.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be kind of a slow rollout thing, but pay attention for it because it is worth watching.
Yeah, sounds great.
And then and this is not a movie, right? But it's certainly cinematic. I'm talking about Netflix's Daredevil, which is the first of Netflix's big multi-series arrangement with Marvel Studios. Now, I cannot say enough good things about this show. I have been absolutely blown away by it. And Brian, you've seen a couple episodes. We have not talked about it, so as is our tradition on this show, what are your thoughts on Daredevil?
Well, I am only 2 episodes deep,
Okay.
but I've really enjoyed it so far. It's I was surprised by it because it's for Marvel. When we talk about, we're like, oh, these DC movies are aiming to be so grim now, and Marvel's made everything so lighthearted. And this is not lighthearted at all. This is it's a very dark show, but it doesn't it made me think of Gotham. And when Gotham was proposed, we were like, that is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a feeling it's not going to do it. You know what I mean? It's not going to get there, and I can't tell you why, and I that's why I'm not producing a television show. I can't tell you why it didn't do it right or what they're doing wrong. But Daredevil does what you wanted Gotham to do.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. It's dark, but it doesn't wallow in it. It just is. You know what I mean? It's not forcing darkness upon you, and even in just the production design and look at how dour everything is in this world. It just is. It's their version of Hell's Kitchen, and the action is really movie good, right?
Yeah, well, you said you've seen the second episode, so I mean it's worth pointing out this extended fight sequence that occurs in one shot.
Yeah, they go out of their way, and that's the thing too, because I know a lot of people were talking about True Detective, really enjoying that show a lot, and there was a sequence where something went on without cuts for 5 minutes or something like that, and it's that's the sort of thing you don't get a lot on television. At least network television, and
Right.
just because inevitably there's just constraints and budget and whatever. But when you go to the HBOs of the world and things like that, they're able to pull off a little bit more, make things a little bit more cinematic. And this show is definitely competing with that.
Yeah. Well, and how do you think it fits in with the the sort of the cinematic universe? Because it's meant to be a part of it.
It's hard to say. I mean, I feel like you could easily see this Daredevil step into Tony Stark's, side of New York or whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, the show is I feel a little more stylized in that, the colors are a little more dramatic.
Yeah.
They'll have little splashes of green and red and stuff here and there.
But it's not. I mean, it's not stylized like Joel Schumacher Gotham.
No,
stylized.
or Dick Tracy or anything like that. But I mean, it's just. But I kind of dug it actually, because it feels different.
Yeah.
It's nice to have it have its own sort of visual voice. I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think? Or Ray, have you seen it too? I want to hear what you guys think.
I have not.
Ray, I'm sure you've been seeing the people talking about it on social media and stuff like that.
Well, no.
Oh.
No. For whatever reason, my circle, I've not heard a thing. I mean, how does it compare to the movie of a while back?
Oh my gosh. Oh my. So I actually tried I popped in the Daredevil the movie, the 2003 movie, starring Ben Affleck. Because the episodes dropped Thursday night at midnight, and so my goal was I was like I want to stay up long enough to like just watch the first episode. And so as I was trying to stay up, I popped on the movie, and I hadn't seen it in years, and it's worse than like I have any recollection of it being, because I remember at the time being like, yeah, it's fine. It's terrible. Like
You know what has not aged well?
What's
Movies that were influenced by The Matrix that weren't The Matrix.
That's right. It's true.
I caught like 20 minutes of Charlie's Angels on HBO.
Oh
Which
goodness.
is like
Okay.
fun in its own way, but it's like the way that they like ape The Matrix. It's like embarrassing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
has The Matrix aged well? I mean, when was the
That's
last
a good
time
question.
you two watched that one?
I haven't seen it in a while, so yeah, that's actually a question that I'm wondering about myself.
I'd be curious.
I don't know because I was the perfect age for that movie, so I
Right.
like it the way that I like it, so it's hard for me to say. But I feel like it holds up, honestly. I mean, I've seen it maybe within the past 2 years.
Okay.
I still enjoyed it. I don't know for what that's worth.
See, the thing with The Matrix is for all the weird zero gravity shenanigans, there's at least an in-story explanation for why that would occur.
Exactly.
Whereas
So-
Charlie's Angels, it's just nonsense. Daredevil, it's just not. My issue with Daredevil, as I was watching it, is that the character, and Brian, the current TV series reflects the fact that he's a regular dude.
Right.
And yet, in the movie, he is jumping through the sky and landing on scaffolds and doing all this stuff that the human body cannot withstand.
Right.
And then at one point, he's in the, like, after a brutal fight scene, he's in the shower and he pulls out his molar.
Right.
But he doesn't pull it out and save it. He throws it down the drain.
Right.
I think you need your molars. You need them to eat.
That should have been the next scene where like Jason Mantzoukas was his dentist. Or something like, you threw it down the drain? Why would you do that? Now I have to sculpt a whole new molar for you, and that's very expensive.
That's so bizarre,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a terrible movie. In answer to your question, Ray, I mean this it's just there is no comparison. It's the TV series, in my opinion, is just that good. And I say that obviously you guys know my background as being like a comic book geek, and I grew up reading Daredevil comics, obviously. But I think just as a show, like I don't say it's superhero good. It's just good.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was a big Zaki. I wouldn't say big, I guess, compared to some people, but I was a decent DC guy growing up, and
Sure.
But I actually haven't watched any TV series from DC since probably Lois and Clark. I actually skipped the entire Smallville. So
Sure.
Yeah. But I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's funny because I watch occasionally. I haven't watched this season, but the TV series Arrow, which is it's based on the Green Arrow character, and that's sort of this street level gritty character, and it's a good show. I don't have a problem with it, but definitely after watching Daredevil, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch Arrow in the same way, because to me, I mean, I think this show has really upped the ante for what you can do with a superhero TV show.
It doesn't make you wonder why everyone doesn't just do it well.
Well, Brian, you're working in the industry closer to it than I am. So
You're
you
right.
tell me why.
I'll call a meeting tomorrow. I'll tell you about it.
Can't you talk to them? Well, so Daredevil's doing really well on Netflix, and I think that's a good way to segue into just a few brief headlines. And this is just a follow-up from what we were talking about last time, Brian. According to John Stamos himself, Full House is a go for Netflix. It's going to be a 13-episode series called Fuller House.
Okay.
And so you wanted it, and it's happening.
I asked. I put it in the suggestion box, and no. But that's one of those things where I can see, like, okay, like curiosity. So you check it out. I think a lot of people watch the pilot. But, like, is it something that people are actually going to sit and watch all 13 episodes? Don't know.
Yeah. Well, so just to give you the heads up here, we got Candace Cameron Bure, Jodie Sweetin, and Andrea Barber, who played Kimmy Gibbler, are set to star in Fuller House. In Fuller House, the adventures that began in 1987 on Full House continue, with veterinarian DJ Tanner Fuller, pregnant and recently widowed, living in San Francisco. DJ's younger sister / aspiring musician Stephanie Tanner, and DJ's lifelong best friend, fellow single mother Kimmy Gibbler, along with Kimmy's feisty teenage daughter Ramona, all move in to help take care of DJ's 2 boys, the rebellious 12-year-old JD and neurotic 7-year-old Max, and her soon-to-arrive baby.
Wait, so that means Aladdin died? Was that her boyfriend?
Oh my God, you're right. His name was Scott Fuller.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Wait. So it's not about the 3 dads, or well, they weren't dads; they were uncles. But like, so it's about the girls. So it's like it's like inversing the.
This is Girl Meets World.
Oh, speaking of, I was going to ask: has anybody checked out the Boy Meets World, sequel?
Well, I watched.
That'd be a good precedent.
I watched the pilot and I was like, you know what? It's good, I guess. It's just not for me. Like, I'm clearly not the audience.
Right.
But then I did watch. They did an episode, like partway through the season where Corey's parents come back and Sean comes back.
Okay.
And so it was like the reunion episode. And
so do one for the parents.
Yeah, right. So I was like, oh, this is the one for me. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I know people who really like that show. I'm just like, well, my interest is in Corey and Topanga and there. So literally, like, whenever it would cut to the daughter and it's her show, I would be like, can you do like a split screen where we see what the parents?
Right. What are the parents up to? Oh, they're reading magazines in the living room. That's just like me.
That's So I mean, this sounds like it's from the Girl Meets World template, because we'll get like the occasional Uncle Jesse showing up episode, and
well, that's all I want. I just want to see Uncle Joey and Uncle Jesse and all those guys.
Yeah, exactly. So the nice thing is that you don't have to wait for those episodes, Brian. You can just skip right to them, because if this follows the
I can binge the whole
one.
Yeah,
the
whole mamma jamma. But the thing is like that's another thing too, like with Coach and like some of these shows that are coming back, like the humor and the style of those shows. I mean, is it going to be like in front of a studio audience like the original was? You know what I mean? Like it was a whole different temperament, those shows, for a different time.
You know what? Here's why it's going to be in front of a studio audience, because Full House is not funny enough to sustain single camera.
No, not at all. And not even as a slight to it. Like, it's just the style of the show.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like a setup, punchline, setup, punchline. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you need an audience of idiots to make it.
Well, hey, the 90s are back, obviously, in a big way. I think you guys have been too hard on this Coach reboot, though. Have you...
I really don't mean to be hard on it, because I remember liking Coach. I just find it's just, if you were to like make an SNL sketch about like bringing back random shows to Netflix, like Coach would be the one that I would pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Look, full disclosure, I will absolutely 100% watch at least the first episode of the Coach reboot.
Well, and what's his name? Patrick from SpongeBob. That's gonna be weird. Seeing him again.
Is he back? Is he in?
Well, he was the funniest thing about the show, right?
Yeah, he's got to be in. I've talked with other people about this, and they say as long as he's in, they'll watch the show.
Yeah.
He is actually not involved. Bill
Son of a. Well, who is what Van Dyke? What was his name?
Luther.
Yeah.
Jerry Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke's younger brother.
Is he alive?
He is still alive.
Okay, good.
His career is not.
Well, good for him.
Yes. Jerry Van Dyke, by the way, has the distinction of starring in one of the worst TV shows of all time, which is this sitcom from the '60s called My Mother the Car.
I've heard that title, but I'm not familiar.
Have you guys ever seen My Mother the Car? Either of you guys?
No.
So here's the premise of My Mother the Car. All right, Jerry Van Dyke plays this guy. I can't remember his name, but he's at a used car lot, and this car starts talking to him in the voice of his mom, who passed away, because she's been reincarnated as a car.
Oh, it's like the Love-Matic Grandpa. Is that where that was?
The Love-Matic Grandpa was making fun of My Mother the Car.
Well,
now were either of you fans of the Dick Van Dyke Show?
Oh yeah, I love the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Okay, so you recall the episodes where he had his brother appear? There were always 2-part episodes where his brother would just kind of pop by and mess a few things up. Yeah, that was my that's my only non-coach reference to Jerry Van Dyke.
To Jerry Van Dyke. But you know what? I will absolutely watch the Coach reboot. And I you know what? For as much mockery as we're heaping on it, yes, I will probably watch Fuller House.
Well, I'm definitely in for the X-Files. They're going to do a 6-episode run?
Yeah, 6 episodes, and they just announced that Mitch Pileggi, who played Skinner, will be back for that.
I just think the current era couldn't be more paranoid. So talk about a perfect time for the X-Files on back.
Well, my memory of the X-Files as of now is the terrible sequel that they made in 2008, which I went and saw that the week that it opened, and I was literally the only person in the theater. Which, they made the mistake of opening it the week after The Dark Knight. Which might explain why it made like $1.50 at the box office, right?
Right.
Well,
but yeah, it's.
The problem with that one was that they tried to do it as like the monster of the week, but as a movie, and nobody wants to see that, right? If you've been away from the movie for several years, you want to see a little more of the mythology,
right? And what are the characters up to? And Brian, were you ever were you ever an X-Files guy?
No, and not because I didn't like it. I don't know. I kind of missed that one.
See, I was a huge X-Files fan during in its early years when nobody was watching it, and then it became this huge hit, and then I was like, it's too popular now. I did like the thing that everyone does with like the bands that they love.
Yeah, that's funny. Hipster Zaki.
I was a hipster before everybody became a hipster, and then I stopped because I was.
That's the most hipster thing you could possibly say.
That's right. Okay, so we have the mother load of trailers to talk through.
Man.
The past 7 days have seen trailer upon trailer upon trailer release. So we haven't done like trailer talk in a little while. So we're kind of like making up for lost time in this episode.
Well, it's kind of interesting because 2 of those trailers made me cry for different reasons.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's go down the line here. So first up, we have the new trailer for Terminator Genisys dropped, and this is following on from the one in December, which kind of set up the broad strokes of the plot. Now this new one dropped, and now Brian, the trailer puts a pretty big spoiler out there about the story. So my question is, should we avoid this? Should is it considered a spoiler if it's already been spoiled? If it comes pre-spoiled?
Ray, I'm gonna defer to
you. No, it is not considered a spoiler if it comes.
Well, it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we can talk freely about this.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and play some of the audio from the Terminator Genisys trailer, and we can talk about it on the flip side.
My whole life I prepared my son to lead humanity in the fight against the machines.
On this night, we take back our world!
But there was one thing I could never prepare him for.
The machines tried to rig the game. Send a Terminator back to the time before the war to kill my mother.
I'll go back. Let me save her.
Okay, so the hook for this movie was that we start out with where the 1984 Terminator started out. Kyle Reese comes back in time to sleep with John Connor's mother, and everything is different.
Right.
Now, from my end, that was enough of a hook to have me at least somewhat, if not intrigued, interested, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
The new trailer comes out and it says, everything's different, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger's the old Terminator, and there he is. And oh yes, by the way, here's the villain of the movie, and it's John Connor, who's been turned into a cyborg of some kind, and they have to kill him now.
Yeah.
So now my reaction to this trailer was, what, are you kidding me?
Right.
Because that is to me it seems like the biggest twist. Like if you want to keep anything in reserve, it's that.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Right.
So what do you think the thought process here is in blowing their wad the way they did?
I mean, maybe I can only guess, but I mean, maybe they aren't getting the reactions that they were hoping to get so far.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're not tracking like they thought they would, so they felt like they had to just go and put, the craziest stuff out there to lure people in. I have no idea.
So you chalk this up to desperation, is what you're saying?
Not on the record officially is my answer, but like maybe, I don't know. It's a theory. I don't know.
You're being very coy, Brian.
No, I have no insider knowledge on this. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to say, yeah, that's what it is. I have no idea, but, like, it seems like a possibility.
I mean, Ray, you're just as much of a fan of T2 as I think the two of us are.
Sure.
So how are you feeling from what you've seen of this thus far?
Well, I think you guys talked about it either last episode or the one before, but there hasn't been really a decent version of a Terminator since, was it Robert
T2.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Right, and I was actually thinking that as I was as I got through about the first half of this trailer, and maybe that's why they went ahead and tipped their hat a little bit, because I was like, okay, he's liquid metal. He's Asian this time. I don't know, knives for hands. We've seen that one before, and it was kind of like, yeah, man, they just haven't been able to do it again. And then it's like, oh, John Connor's the Terminator, apparently the Terminator. All right, I'm in. Fine, because I mean, it does raise the stakes, and we don't know how. She's become. Well, they've changed the timeline, and she's become kind of the badass we knew in Terminator 2, but now it's happening in the Terminator 1 timeline, and you would think like, well, this character is pretty, she's definitely earned her cred. You're not worried about her handling herself, but how does she handle herself against her own son in Terminator form? That's one I haven't seen before. So I'm into it.
I'll say this too. When you just made me think of something I think I'd been feeling, but I hadn't been able to articulate. It's that there hasn't been a good Terminator since Robert Patrick. You know what I mean? Like in T3. Yeah. Like, and what I mean by that is everybody's just imitating him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like none of them have actually stood out as their own sort of thing that I'm like, oh, well, that's a cool take on a Terminator. Like everyone's just imitating his sort of icy stare. And so this is like an interesting way to try to put a new spin on the killing machine. So I don't know. I have all hopes of me liking this like I should like a Terminator movie are out the window. So like I'm just gonna go in like just hoping.
But why is that, Brian?
Well, kind of what I was saying about like with sequels earlier. I mean, like they're not advancing things forward while staying true to the things I love about the movies that came before it. They're just sort of like recycling similar ideas, and not as well.
Sure.
So my problem.
Yeah.
My problem with every Terminator since Part 2. So with Terminator 2, they pulled a bit of a Back to the Future 3, where they kind of ended it with the your future's not written, you can make it whatever you want kind of thing, and I like that. And then everyone since then, it's been, no, just kidding. this definitely happens. We're all
Oh,
screwed.
you're right. They totally reversed that, didn't they?
Yeah.
This
So
is inevitable. Yeah. I
Well,
never thought
not
of that.
just that, not just that.
Yeah.
Let's take the trailer at face value. That reverses everything we felt about the character of John Connor.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see what it is, but
I guess it's really odd to me. You know, this habit that's going on lately of spoiling so much of what's coming up in trailers. It's, you know, I've said this before. Like I'm now at a point where I'm just consciously choosing not to watch trailers past a certain, like I'll watch the teaser and maybe the first trailer, but after that I'm done because they're just ruining the movie.
right.
You know, I mean, to that point, right? Let's talk about Jurassic World, which the new assembly of that just dropped today, and this is like a little bit of Terminator Genisys syndrome, where it's just given us a little bit too much.
Mm.
I had that reaction. I don't know, Brian. Brian, did you see it?
I did. Yeah.
So I started watching this, and about a minute in, right around the time B.D. Wong showed up,
Uh-huh.
I was like, all right, I'm going to stop watching this trailer. Not because I don't like B.D. Wong. I'm sure he's a very nice guy. But I just felt like they were just dropping too much exposition.
So what, you didn't finish it?
I did not finish the Jurassic World trailer.
Huh. I admire that.
Really? Well, thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Well,
I had this feeling where I was like, oh, this isn't going to be what I think it's going to be.
Okay.
Personally speaking with Jurassic Park is one of those movies that when you ask what my favorite movies are, I never think to say Jurassic Park, but it is one of my favorite movies. You know what I mean? Like it's one that I love watching. I've seen it more than any other movie in the theater. I saw that over and over and over when I was younger. But what I love about it is it's things that are very specific to Steven Spielberg.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And to be fair, the sequel wasn't very good. The Lost World, which was Steven Spielberg. Something felt really off about that movie. I don't know what it was.
I am a defender of The Lost World. I will defend that movie until I die.
Really, I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't think it can stand next to the first one.
I agree with that.
It's like a fun B monster movie.
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
and I'm not crazy about the third one, and not because I don't think it's good. I just don't respond to it like I do the first one. And I think with the first one, it's like when I think of the moments in there, they're like, really, when you think about it, smaller sorts of moments. I mean, it's like when the T-Rex first comes out of its little cell or cage or whatever you want to call it, and it attacks the kids. I mean, what really happens? Not a lot. Like, it just comes out and it turns the car over and it squashes it and the kids are inside and then they chase it away. But that thing today still is so frightening and effective and like tangible and just like Spielberg-y.
And there's a scene in the trailer for the new one that mirrors that with the kid, right? And that was actually the moment where I turned it off.
Yeah, and like I don't want to sound like whatever, but like when I saw that moment, I was like, oh, that looks like that moment from the first one, except not real at all. You know what I mean? So like I was like, okay, I've got to turn that thing off in my brain and just understand that this isn't the movie I would have conjured up, or not like that I would write and direct, but I mean the one that I would want Steven Spielberg to make again. This is something else. But it's in, with this sort of universe where dinosaurs are at a theme park, and it's going to be totally different, but, like, just go with it and have fun.
You know what it looks like to me? Again, just based on what I've seen, it looks like Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Chris Pratt is Tom Jane. Right? He's got this relationship with the predators, right? The raptors or the sharks. What's her name? Bryce Howard. He's had a relationship with her, just like Saffron Burrows, who messed around and made a genetic creature that's smarter than it should be. And right, it's Deep Blue Sea.
Ray. I'm curious what you have to say.
Well, I like the obvious Jaws reference. And then, no, this is much better than Jaws from from executive producer Steven Spielberg, who had almost nothing to do with this, you know. But we'll just make a big Spielberg allusion right at the start, just, you know. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. I like that they include young Indiana Jones in it. No, honestly, I wasn't that. I don't know, man. It didn't really do much for me. There wasn't a lot that I saw that seemed that different from the previous three, but I don't know. I think I'm a little bit of a hater. I think the older I get, you know, the higher the bar is. But no, I'm sure it'll be a fun film. I can't really get a handle on kind of where they're taking it. That's going to be, I guess, unique. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really do like the idea of the dinosaurs running wild in a park that's full.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great idea, but I feel like it might be too big or something, or like it might be too much of a spectacle. You know what I mean? With too much visual effects and stuff, and it might lose that sort of personal horror that the first one had. You know what I mean? Where you have like the kid, like again, I mean, I'm trying to think. Oh, that kitchen scene. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, what happens in the kitchen scene? Really nothing. Like, they just weasel around on the floor and then fake it out and run. But, like, again, I mean, to this day, that scene holds up, you know, because it takes its time and it allows you to settle in and be terrified of what's around the corner from you. But I feel like, you know, this one looks a little bit broader and more like you know, special effects spectacle kind of thing.
Well, my girlfriend mentioned that she thought the dinosaurs looked a little too CG, and she you know, didn't feel like that was reflected in the first movie, or it seemed more practical or something. But
it was like the perfect mix in the first one.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I just realized too that like this is kind of like my like movies were better in black and white. Like for me, it's like you know, like practical effects, damn you. But like, but that's not the world we live in. You know what I mean? Like, so I just gotta sort of concede that and just sort of like I say, switch that part of my brain off and just go with the ride, I guess.
Do you guys know if this is this intended to be the first in a series now? Are they trying to restart this thing, or?
I can only assume.
Yeah. Yeah, I would expect, right? I mean, if they're basically, this is like. They're putting a lot of startup money into what they're hoping will be a bold new beginning, and not the period.
They're Fast and Furious 4.
Right.
Like, let's kickstart some life into this thing, and
well, and I mean, think you know, it's funny because we think of like Jurassic Park as being, you know, one of the biggest hits in Universal's history, which of course it is. But it's worth pointing out, you're talking about Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious 7 just crossed $1 billion last week.
Yeah.
Worldwide. And it's the fastest movie in history to make $1 billion.
Yeah. Crazy.
And now that's a monster. You know, that's like, say what you will about this series. I mean, you can't argue with how much money it's managing to make. So it stands to reason that Universal's kind of like, all right, what are our other franchises lying around that we can do something with, you know?
Sure, for sure. American Graffiti.
I think it's time. I think it's time for even more American Graffiti.
Yeah, exactly.
And what the hell? Get Harrison Ford back. he seems to be reprising all of his old characters. Now moving on. We obviously, like I said, we got like all these trailers to get through. Now, the big trailer that dropped last week was Star Wars, and we'll talk about that. But before we talk about that, we should talk about the debacle that ensued in the wake of the Star Wars trailer being released, which is sort of Warner Brothers' misfortune of what happened with Batman versus Superman. Now, the original plan here, and actually, let me say, I think this is proof positive that the whole trailer for a trailer thing that's really taken off lately is bad news. Because essentially what happened is that Warner Brothers planned to have an IMAX premiere of the Batman vs. Superman trailer on Monday the 20th. So today, the day we're recording, that was the plan. And on Wednesday, they dropped like a 20-second nothing that showed practically nothing, but was supposed to get you all excited, right? So Thursday afternoon, the Star Wars trailer drops, and everybody's freaking out about it. We'll talk about that in a second. And then Thursday evening, a horrible, phone camera bootleg of the Batman versus Superman trailer hits the internet and just goes viral instantly.
Yeah.
So that becomes the majority of the world's first exposure to that trailer.
Right.
So it's hard now to separate the trailer itself from sort of the poop storm that engulfed it. But that being said, the first Batman vs Superman trailer dropped. Let's play some of the audio from that.
Human beings have a horrible track record of following people of great power.
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Chaos. Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing.
We know better now, don't we? Devils don't come from hell beneath us.
They brought their war here.
No, they come from the sky.
The world has been so caught up with what he can do that no one has asked what he should do.
What are we thinking about this one now? And I've been sort of apathetic about this movie from the beginning, but I'll withhold my reaction until after I hear what you guys think. Ray, let's start with you. I mean, what do you think about it?
Well, I like it when Superman lands and it looks like they're going to get into a big brawl. That part got me excited. Actually, I like the use of the different voices in the trailer. To set up kind of the idea of. Here's what I'll say. I hated Man of Steel so much that.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. That if they do not in some way address the fact that Superman snapped. Oh, wait, is this still considered a spoiler this far after Man of Steel?
Nah.
No, I say roll with it.
Great. So if they don't have Superman dealing with the fact that he snapped Zod's neck, or if Batman isn't there to sort of rein him back in because of the fact that he killed somebody or whatever it may be, then I just think
he killed a lot of somebody. I think a third of Metropolis does not exist anymore.
Yeah, he's quite the hero. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think they failed on the whole character. There's no way to save it, in my opinion, because I just don't like Superman. But on the other hand, maybe I'll really like Batman, and then maybe that's the whole point is they're opposing each other, and maybe I'll get to see Superman finally, get his in this one. So that's where I'm at with that. Do I sound bitter?
You do.
Yeah.
And you're a huge Superman fan.
Yeah, they just messed it up so bad, man. The thing is like, growing up, everybody loved Batman, right? Our entire generation was way more into Batman. They couldn't really deal with Superman. But but Batman's, and I think that's because we live in the age of the anti-hero, and Batman's kind of the perfect anti-hero. But Superman's not supposed to be the anti-hero, and I don't want to see him dark. It can be a dark world, but he needs to be a Boy Scout. Just sort of. Trying to be the guiding light, the one that we can look up to, even if we don't quite get it, And anyway, I think the whole series started off poorly, but I'd love to see it,
Wow. Okay. So
get back on its footing.
So I think Brian and I both really liked Man of Steel when it first came out. Speaking only for myself, I will say that my opinion has plateaued slightly. I wouldn't say I dislike it. But
We're probably on the same page with that.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think it's I still don't hate it, but I can definitely, the flaws are a bit more apparent.
Yeah, no, I would agree. As a theatrical going experience, I enjoyed it, and then I didn't really want to watch it again. Right. And then I caught it again maybe once, and it just felt a little overly self-serious and. It just wasn't the tone I want associated with a Superman film, I guess. I don't know.
So here's where I'm at.
Right.
We now have photographic proof of a film where Batman and Superman are going to meet each other.
Right.
Why is this so uneventful? Why is this not a bigger deal?
Man, I mean, really, let me just say, when I saw the trailer, I saw the bootleg first, which isn't fair, you know what I mean, to Zack Snyder,
right.
let's be honest. And it was really dark, and I was like, man, okay. And then I couldn't really tell what was going on, if I'm being honest with you. Like, we later find out it's slowly pushing in on this toppled statue of Superman. This is false god sprayed on its chest, you know, very dramatically. And I don't know, it just felt so heavy. And then it was like Batman, you know, like wants to kill Superman, and Superman is all these people bowing to him, and it just felt so damn dark. I mean, really, like it felt like Superman was stuck in the darkest of Batman movies or something. Like it just didn't feel right. And but anyway, so then eventually I saw it once they put the regular version up, and I lightened on it a little bit. Like obviously this is just a taste, a very, very small taste, and there's probably 2 hours and 30 minutes we're not seeing of that movie. So I'm willing to wait and give it the benefit of the doubt. But I mean, Zack Snyder, I like what I think he's a talented guy, but what he does, like how he makes movies, isn't necessarily what I want to see personally.
Okay.
For the characters I enjoy, you know what I mean? But and this just looks like this is going to be like a really serious, self-serious, let's say, dark, brooding sort of movie, and it's like, oh man, just feels exhausting looking at it.
It's interesting because this is kind of the complaint. Like, well, the Marvel films, the Marvel Studios films have more of a sense of fun and this and that, and why can't we get some of that here? To me, that's like it's not so much that we should have all light all the time or all dark all the time, but it's like you need to modulate a little bit. And I feel like a character like Superman, I think to Ray's point, a character like Superman, there should be a sense of joy in that film. It's like you can, I want to see him smile, I guess is
right.
Because in Man of Steel he smiles like twice.
Yeah.
And obviously the Christopher Reeve comparison is never a good thing, because obviously Christopher Reeve is not just, he's sort of like on a pedestal when it comes to playing that role. But I think certainly the first film, the Richard Donner film, is successful because it balances that tone a little bit more. There's just there's something about this teaser that feels very oppressive.
Yeah, and dour, and I feel like I could already tell you what this movie's going to be about, and I have to remember this is just a teaser.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about, this alien came to Earth, and what does he do? He destroys half a city, and he's got all these powers, and how do you govern someone like that? And then Batman is like, I've seen something like this before, and I've got to take justice into my own hands, and da-da-da-da-da, and then of course they'll end up working together. So that's kind of that's the trailer I wanted to see. I wanted to see Bruce Wayne confused and kind of scared. And well, I have to protect. It's up to me. And Superman has all these people worshiping him, but it's not what he wants either. You know what I mean? And I want to see the characterness of what that story is going to be, and eventually how they're going to have to butt heads initially. Yeah. Totally. That's the movie I want to go see. But when all they do is give us this little taste, and the taste is so bitter. It's like it almost feels like oh man, that wasn't the taste that wanted me to take another bite.
But see, and that's the thing. Look, let's just obviously the three of us are gonna be seeing this movie,
right? For sure, and hopefully enjoy it.
So I mean, it's like the trailer. It's not its job to sell us, but does it have you intrigued, or are you just kind of does it not move the needle for you?
Well, I don't need a trailer to go see it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go, and again, I think we try on this show actually to be pretty open-minded. We'll tell you what we thought of the trailer, and it sounds like not a lot for all three of us, but at the same time, we don't want this movie to be bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping that they're just showing me. I'm hoping that like their marketing team is like, darkness sells, so let's show the darkest parts of this movie, and people will show up. You know what I mean? Like, I get how it works, and so that's what they think people want for some reason. But I think the movie obviously will have more going on, and I hope it all comes together into something that we like.
I'm trying to imagine how in the world they fit. Can you imagine Wonder Woman and Aquaman in this universe? Like,
no.
Is Wonder Woman smoking a cigarette?
I know. Seriously.
I don't know.
Well, there's a Frank Miller comic called All-Star Batman where his version of Wonder Woman is kind of this militant feminist who she calls men sperm bags.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that version of Wonder Woman showing up in this.
Right.
But regardless, moving on, and I'm sure we'll have more to say about Batman vs Superman once there's more to see. Let's focus on what is inarguably the biggest trailer news of last week, and that is of course the second trailer for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So let's play some of that audio.
The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it. You have that power too.
Okay, so I'll just be out with it. I loved this. I was blown away by it. I was giddy watching this trailer. And Brian, I know that you mentioned that your mouth was agape as you were watching it.
I became pregnant watching this trailer. No. No, yeah,
With twins, Luke and Leia.
Yeah. No, yeah, I had the fortune or misfortune of having a really reflective monitor at work when I was watching it. And when it was over, the screen went black, and I could see the stupid look on my face. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could probably talk for an hour and a half about this trailer. Actually, how much we loved it.
We probably could, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about why we loved it. Oh well, hold on, Ray.
Yeah, we haven't talked to Ray yet.
Did you love it?
I did love it. I did love it, and here's the footnote on that is that I'm one of the few people in our generation that was not originally like a Star Wars guy. I mean, obviously nobody hates Star Wars, but I think there's two kinds of people in this world. You may not know this. There's Back to the Future people, and there's Star Wars people. And the weird thing is that I had seen, of course, all of the original trilogy as a kid, but never because I actually sat down and watched them. It was just sort of, you'll remember this. They're like pretty much you went over to any friend's house for a period of about a decade, and one or another of the Star Wars movies was running in the background. So at some point, I watched them all, and it actually wasn't until college that I had like a hardcore Star Wars fan friend say, "Look, I'll watch the 3 Back to the Futures with you, but you're going to watch the 3 Star Wars with me, and I'm going to make you appreciate them." And that worked out. And, of course, we no need to talk about the last since 1999, but this one I'm excited again, very much so. Every beat that they should be hitting, I think they're hitting so far. So far, so good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, and you're going to hate me for this because I think this is the moment you're referring to that you cried. There was a lot of people did. I actually think the weakest moment in the trailer was actually Han Solo and his delivery of the line and how goofy he looked when he said it. But that said, I'm in. I still want to, I want to see him being that character again. But that part actually took me out of it.
Why did it take you out of it?
I don't know. You've got this cool new Star Wars, and you're seeing all these great images that are reminiscent of the films that we loved, but in a slightly new way. And then all of a sudden, there's just this, just this old dude next to Chewie saying this cheesy line, and I was just kind of like, okay, all right, I'll keep going with it. I'm not gonna be hated.
Yeah. I think that was. I mean, for me, that was definitely the money shot because. I said after the teaser, I was like, I need to see our friends to so that this feels like Star Wars, because otherwise it just feels like a fan video, you know.
Yeah.
So that's and we got Mark Hamill's voiceover and stuff, but just that, I think that's what that shot did for me. It was like, wow, we're doing this. I guess it's actually happening, you know.
And my favorite moment of the trailer actually was just the card that said this Christmas, because it was like, wow, you know,
yeah,
this is real. Yeah, and then I also liked, of course, the melted Darth Vader mask. But did anybody else notice, and am I reading too much into this? Has this been written about online? He refers to his father in the present tense. He has.
He said, my father has it, right?
Has it, right? Yeah. Is that just a fake out or what?
I've talked about this with people. I'd put my money on that. That's repurposed dialogue from Return of the Jedi.
But no, but Mark Hamill said he re-recorded it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He sounds pretty young.
Yeah, well, maybe he just recorded that bit at the end, and they kind of blended it with what he said.
That
before.
you have that power too, because he says that to Leia on the bridge in Return of the Jedi. So I thought they just cobbled together all that.
Well, he says my father has it, my sister has it.
Yeah, you have that power too.
Oh no, but he said he re-recorded it. So
yeah.
So you're wrong, Brian, is what I'm saying.
Well, hey, I'm not going to argue with Mark Hamill.
Well, no, Brian, obviously, okay. So the Star Wars trailer, pretty phenomenal. Like I said, we could keep.
Wait, I want to say the one thing though. I have to say something about the trailer about why I liked it so much, and it's why I didn't like all the other trailers.
Okay.
Because when you look at Tatooine and A New Hope, and you look at Hoth in Empire Strikes Back, and you look at Endor and all that stuff, like those are like actual places, you know what I mean, that our heroes are tromping through.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing with the prequels, and I'm not going to hate on the prequels, but like they just had this weird two-dimensional sheen. You know, the whole universe, everything felt flat and phony. Right. You know what I mean? And then it was just like to see these people in these universes again with like actual sand. You know what I mean? And like actual, like that, that BB-8 little R2 robot thing is like actually real and rolling around with them. And there's that shot, the money shot for me in that trailer. I've told all these people this. The moment where I was like, oh my gosh, yes, was when that TIE fighter is shooting up the hangar. Do you remember that? It's such a brief moment. But like I rewound that thing over and over and over. And it was like, what's so cool about that is something that they could not have pulled off in the original trilogy because of the limits of special effects. Sure. You know what I mean? They could only do what they could do. But that, like, so they had a hangar, sort of like a Harrier jet sort of effect where it's hovering in the air and it's shooting up a hangar, but it's not a fake hangar. Like, you could tell it was a practical set. The fire was actually there. The stormtrooper that flies up in the air was actually there flying up in the air. You know what I mean? Like, it's all tangible. And it's like pushing forward, what's possible in that universe with the iconography that I love. And that truly, to me, that one moment in the trailer where I was like, December can't come quick enough. So.
Well, and Brian, I mean, you got to participate in the Star Wars celebration this past weekend.
Yeah. It was. I'm not super familiar with Star Wars Celebration before this. I mean, apparently it doesn't happen every year, and it travels. Sometimes it's in different states in the U.S., sometimes it's in Europe. And I got it as a Christmas present from a friend. And so we went this past weekend, and we didn't go the day that J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy and the whole cast were there. I think they kicked that off on Thursday.
Yes, and that was very interesting because that was, I think in terms of marketing, for as flawful as the Warner's Batman vs. Superman thing was, we have the exact inverse with how Disney pulled off Star Wars, where they live streamed the entire panel. They dropped the trailer online instantly, and it had racked up millions of downloads by within hours.
Yeah. Actually, at one point, I had it up. Like I kept it up because I kept playing it throughout the day, and I was sort of paying attention because I was curious how the numbers were growing, and I noticed by the hour it was jumping like 1 million.
I believe it. Yeah.
Pretty insane.
The guy that works in the office with me asked me if I'd seen the trailer yet, and I said, "What trailer?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? Have you not been on social media? It's all over there." And man, it was hilarious. I opened up my phone. I thought he was exaggerating, and literally every single person for about 20 down on Facebook had posted something about this trailer.
Yeah.
And the whole day I was hearing it in the office, like underneath other office doors. About every half hour, I would just hear the start of this trailer from one office or another. Yeah.
Ditto. Like my Facebook, it was all anyone was talking about. And yeah, as I was walking through my office, I kept hearing it all day.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? What are your predictions? I mean, do you think that's going to be sort of a $1 billion in like a matter of 2 weeks kind of thing?
I think it's a safe bet that it'll make
$1 billion
more than $1 billion. I mean, well, that's almost like that's the basement. You know what I mean?
I was surprised because I know people love Star Wars and stuff, but I was just surprised the wide spectrum of people that were responding to it like they were.
Well, yeah, I love it. It's not nerd stuff anymore. Star Wars, it's everything else that still falls in the nerd category is still kind of nerd, but Star Wars is transcendent somehow.
Yeah, it's kind of universal.
Right.
It's funny, because for me, like I'm still reflexively like I don't wear my Star Wars fandom on my sleeve. I think, Brian, I've told you this before, right? Like I'll wear all manner of geeky T-shirts. The two things I won't wear are Star Trek or Star Wars T-shirts.
That is really funny.
Yeah, and there's no rational reason for that because I don't think people are like, oh, he's wearing a Superman shirt. He's not a loser.
Hey, every man's got to have a code.
But here's the thing, like I get to be like, because like I talk about this with my students, and it's like, hey, what's going on? And people are like, oh, the Star Wars trailer dropped. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's my kids are looking forward to that.
That's the one you deny?
Isn't that funny?
That's hilarious.
I'd be like, yeah, I'll see it. I think my kids are excited about seeing what is it called again? Star Wars. Yeah. That's not the one with Dr. Spock, right? I always do that. Like,
right.
I'd be like, Dr. Spock, the emotional guy. Oh, you, Mr. Spock. So, I didn't know. I'm just blowing my secrets on this show that like thousands of people listen to. So I probably shouldn't do that. But
so, guys, I mentioned at the beginning that I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall by being on the show, and since I am on the show, I'd like to ask you both. Because I haven't heard it brought up since this Star Wars was announced. What, in your ideal world, what would you want this trilogy to be? What story would you want it to tell?
Wow, that's a great question. Brian?
I actually have an answer to that. I have no idea. And I mean that in the best way possible because there are things, I think all three of us write. You know what I mean? And we create media and we've made films and short films and whatnot and stuff like that, and I think we're all creative-minded people, and I'm sure we could come up with a Star Wars story,
right?
But I love Star Wars so much that I don't want to. Like, I want to be given it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go in and like be surprised by it and have it be something that I wouldn't have thought of, and just get taken on a journey that's like independent of the way my mind works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. I couldn't even propose what I'd want these movies to be about. Like, but I can't wait to see what it is. So that's how I feel about it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's for me, I'm at a point where it's like I thought we were done with Star Wars. You know what I mean? So anything that we're getting now is kind of gravy. And because it's the Star Wars that I care about, which is the original characters and sort of picking up where that left off, I'm just inherently more interested. But as far as what I want out of it, I just want something that feels truthful to where we left them the last time we saw them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
meaning you don't want to see it like the things undone in the previous Like where you thought it was left off? Or?
I mean, from this trailer, we know things are undone to the extent that that big celebration they were having at the end of Return of the Jedi was maybe a little premature, you know?
Well, they won a battle. We thought it was more, but yeah, they were just celebrating that battle.
Right. So yeah, I mean, this is truly unexplored territory because this is Star Wars unfettered by whatever George Lucas intended. So in other words, this is Star Wars by us. Because J.J. Abrams is one of us. Right? In other words, he grew up with it the way we did, and he's much richer than us. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I don't know what to expect, but I know that it won't be the way the prequels were. It just can't be.
Yeah.
And that as of right now, that's enough for me.
Well, it felt like the spirit of fun. Like the prequels didn't really feel fun.
That's
what I
true.
mean? Like the originals were.
Yeah.
And this one feels like it has that. You know, J.J. Abrams, you know, he's kind of good like that. Like Mission Impossible 3 and you know, Star Trek, like he's got a real sense. Like he knows how to throw like peril and adventure in there, but he also like never lets go of the fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that feels true to what I hope to get out of a Star Wars film.
Well, and real briefly, because we're up against the clock here, but real briefly, let's talk about. They announced the premise of Rogue One, which is the first of the expanded, you know, beyond the saga movies. And it's directed by Gareth Edwards, and it's about. And we talked about this before, Brian, as I recall. This was the you know, people assumed that this is what it was, but it's about the heist to steal the plans for the Death Star, which is right where, of course, the Star Wars universe began, with the rebels trying to flee, having gotten the Death Star plans. Now, I'm like, that is an awesome idea. I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
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 You know? What's intriguing to me about it is the fact that this actually confirms something that you and I talked about before, where the umbrella title for these movies will be Star Wars, you know, anthology.
Right.
And I mentioned how like they need some way to separate the spin-off movies from the saga movies.
Right.
Right.
So it makes sense to have the word anthology. It's like, this, because they're not using episode numbers anymore.
Right.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Force Awakens.
Yeah, I missed that.
Right?
I didn't think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the movie itself will have episode whatever, but it's just Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and you know, so you need some way to separate the saga movies from the spin-off movies. That seems like a good way to do that.
It'll be interesting. I mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that kind of brings me to what my answer would be in terms of what I'd be looking for is that I know there's going to be another 50 Star Wars, and at some point there's going to be bad ones and good ones, and it is what it is. And I don't really care what they do with the non-saga movies, but what I want from this trilogy is for, like you said, for it to feel a piece of, you know, honestly, the first movie was about Anakin. Or the first trilogy. The second trilogy was about Luke. So I feel like this movie either needs to be about, you know, Luke's offspring, or it needs to tie back into somehow Anakin, or Luke needs a new arc. You know, maybe he's struggling in later age, not to sell out. Whatever it may be, but it needs to. I want to see it be a part of that, and what I don't want to see is kind of just. It's sort of the Luke story for the first movie, or part of the first movie, and then it just sort of heads off in a different direction for a new generation. You know what I mean? It still needs to feel like it's all telling some kind of, you know, it's giving us this missing piece of the saga that allows us to go back and look at the first two trilogies in a slightly different way, is what I would ask of it. So, yeah. And I mean, you know, realistically, the three, you know, John Boyega and Oscar Isaac and what is it, Daisy Ridley? That's the yeah. I mean, they're basically the Han, Luke, and Leia of this new trilogy.
So
that's a tall order. That's
well, because one presumes. How much mileage are they going to be able to get out of the original characters, right?
No, for sure. But what I mean with the first one, it wasn't like it was a movie that surprised everyone, and we fell in love with those characters, and that's why we're excited today. But like, their responsibility is to be like, okay, you need to love us now because we're going to be here for a while. You know what I mean? Like, I that's tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Huh. Well, lots of stuff to look forward to. So definitely, I'm sure we'll have lots of Star Wars news to discuss as we lead up to the big December release of The Force Awakens, and plus everything else that's going to come after that. But I'm excited. And I can't say I've been excited about Star Wars for a while. So this is the trailer has me hopefully heading in the right direction. And I've joked about it, but I am looking forward to seeing it with my kids. That is, because for them it's new Star Wars. So
Sure.
that's the nice thing, is that even if I think it's terrible, if they don't, I'll be able to enjoy it at that level, which a lot of people are. And it's a pretty thankless task because let us not forget the trailer for the Phantom Menace was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's true.
It's always worth remembering. In fact, it was exactly a year ago, Brian, that we did our Phantom Menace retrospective with Pervez.
Oh, really?
That was exactly 1 year ago.
Yeah.
But on that note, let's wrap things up here. And Ray, as our guest, I think you should start things off. Where can people find you online?
Well, check me out, I guess, on Twitter, but I've got a really difficult name to spell. So you can find me at Ray Nowosielski, which is RayNowosielski. And definitely check out the if you're into Vice. If you don't like HBO Vice, if you've never seen it, don't even bother. But if you're already into the show, be sure to check out my episode. Bother. All right, this one's going to be the one that wins you over.
I'm going to DVR it as soon as we get off this thing.
HBO Friday 11 p.m. and a short film that I did with I produced for director Barbara Koppel is nominated for a Webby. We're currently in last place out of the 5. It's in the politics and news category, but if you Google Webby's We the Economy, give it a vote. Who knows? Maybe we can turn this around. Ironically, we're up against 2 Vice segments that are kicking our asses, but. That's and you know what, and actually, since this may be the last thing I get to say, I just want to once again thank you guys for having me on. It really, you guys do a great show, and I enjoy listening to it every 2 weeks. I've been following all along. I'm gonna pour one out for Sean, and,
wherever you are.
But thanks so much, guys. It's been fun.
So, that will not be the last thing you say, because we fully expect to have you back at some point.
Oh yeah.
So.
Cool.
It's been fun.
But Brian, where can people find you online?
In the dark recesses of the internet. Yeah, you can find me at everythingbrian.blogspot.com. Brian with an I. I always hate this part.
Come on.
And then I have a Twitter at everythingbrian. If you tweet at me, I'll tweet you back. But otherwise, I don't use it very much.
And Brian's current tweet total is up to 7. We're at 7 tweets now.
I respond. When people reach out, I respond. That's
all right. So that says something very sad about how many people reach out to Brian.
Well, that's a good point.
Let's take a moment to mourn Brian's lack of
Brian's social media presence.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Anyway, you can also find us at moviefilmpodcast.com and also at our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. Also hit up iTunes and Stitcher Radio, write us a review, let us know how we're doing, leave us a star rating. You can find me at Zaki's Corner, that's Zakis Corner, and also at the Huffington Post, where my movie reviews go up, as does this show. Also, I'm on Twitter, and I do tweet fairly often, so that's at Zaki's Corner. And on behalf of my colleagues, Brian Hall, and our special guest, Ray Nowosielski, my name is Zaki Hassan. This is the Movie Film Podcast. Join us in 2 weeks when we talk about Avengers: The Age of Ultron. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki, Sean, and Ryan are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Chewie.